Everyone, so we're sitting at the base of Billy Goat's Bluff. Now, we came up yesterday and by the time we got to the pinnacles, the cloud and fog cover was pretty bad, so we've decided to give it another go today. There's definitely some cloud and fog about. It's been a little bit more rain, so yesterday was really dry. Today there is it's definitely a bit more moisture on the ground. As we get higher, anticipating there's possibly been a bit of rain as well. So we've dropped the tyre pressures down to just above 20 pounds. Yesterday we were in the high 20s and had no issues, but just with the rain overnight, decided we'd run some low pressures. Now, the run up there, it's a little under an hour, so strap yourselves in. We're in low range, ready to go. Hope you enjoy. As you start, there's a lot of loose rocks. In terms of grip at the moment, no dramas at all.
Continue on Billy Goat Bluff track for 9 kilometres.
There we go, and that's a little Google update there, telling us to continue along Billy Goat Bluff. So I found while I've been down here that if you're in the tracks that most people have been along, then there's a lot less loose rocks. They've already got them out of the way for you. However, you like up in the middle of the track right now, you get the odd big one that's been thrown back out in the middle of the track. And I'm sure would love to hit a diff or a transfer case. Just dropping back into below second there. Look, currently it was a little bit dry yesterday, but the track is still reasonably dry. The grip is pretty good right now. And there's those loose rocks, but the ground is pretty firm. The dirt that is on the ground is pretty firm. Obviously it'll change almost on a daily basis depending on weather and traffic. But in general, I think it's expecting the conditions to be a bit worse than what they were, and the track's been in pretty good condition. It's definitely a low range setup. And we do have a rear locker, but that's not currently engaged. Start struggling for traction, we may engage it. Might have engaged it soon just as a precautionary thing. Here we go, look, looks, you can see on the track here where some people have come up just before us. There's been a slightly damp coating on top, and as I've driven over it, now under their tyre tracks is pretty dry. So there hasn't been much rain at all at this point, which is good. It means we should have a good amount of grip, at least for now. As a precaution, we're by ourselves. As a precaution, we might just engage that locker now, just so it's done. There we go, so we've got a rear locker there engaged. Haven't had any real concern that we need it at this stage, but it doesn't hurt to have it on. Nervous with a bit of rain overnight, but again, currently it's all pretty good. Got this sharp bend here just to make sure that no one else is coming. Again, there are no issues with grip. And the next bend here. A little bit steep, but there's no real loose rocks. pretty good. And I think there's been a bit of work on the track recently here because this is really good condition. So you got a little to the left there, avoid that pothole. There we go. And following those tracks that other people have already been up. It's pretty easy. Just in low second, continuing to climb. Passengers, take a moment. You should be focusing on the road if you're driving. The view out either side is pretty good, and whilst there is some cloud in the background, there we go. You look ahead there, there's definitely a bit of cloud over there. Doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence on what it's going to be like up top, but you never know until you get there. So I'll find out. Looking to do this track, again, you need to have your car ready for conditions to potentially not be as good. So a decent set of tyres, all terrains, whatever. Probably don't need much terrains, but something that's got a bit of grip, something that's going to respond well to being deflated a bit. Some decent suspension. This stage I wouldn't say that you need really any extra clearance. It's just these little mounds here, there for the water. If your car has any issues on approach angles, that'd be the only reason you might need a little bit of extra clearance. But so far, there hasn't been anything that would be a real clearance issue. Drive around Victoria High Country, it's interesting. There are some tracks like this one right now where you have these little breaks in between the climbs and descents where it kind of flattens out for a bit, whereas there are other tracks that are just constant climbing or constant descent. And having these little breaks, these little spaces in between are good to pull over if you need to check anything on the vehicle, decide you want to reduce the tyre pressures at all. Needs to jump out for a moment. Should we get out and get some photos? My understanding is the track here is potentially used for firefighters when there are bushfires, and so it looks like this part in particular has had a bit of work reasonably recently. See there, it's all cleared, all to the sides. Again, the conditions of the track are really good. So we'll go back in a second, low second. Bit of a steep bit here, but again, whilst there's some loose rocks, following the tracks of other people, no dramas at all. A little bit bumpy there, but again, slow and easy. No issues whatsoever. Staying in Dargo, the Dargo River Inn, and there's definitely a lot more rain there overnight than what there appears to have been here. It's still reasonably dry. track, and we're not getting too far away from that cloud and fog level. Well, the other really good thing about having these brakes in between climbs, if you are in a bit of a convoy, then it allows everyone to catch up, whereas if you're all kind of waiting and not wanting to follow too closely on a very steep bit, if anyone has an issue, you either find the cars very far apart or everyone's on the climb or descent, and if someone has an issue, it's very hard to help out. Just a little off camber there. Again, still plenty of grip. There's a few little sprinkles on the windscreen. See there in the distance there, pretty steep climb coming up. But again, at the moment, the track is actually in really good condition. Now, off everyone's lines have come before you. There are definitely a lot of rocks, and it would be a little bit more slippery. But if you're on everyone's tracks, again, there's plenty of grip at the moment. Again, the rain hasn't been enough rain to potentially influence the dirt, so I'm not really sure whether this would actually get slippery or not. This little bit here, it's a little bit bumpier on the inside, but if we just keep to the left here, no dramas at all. Track goes around to the left. I think it is. And on a clearer day, it's a pretty good view out there. Well, today it's pretty limited. Again, you can't really see. I'm pretty sure this is the bit. But there's plenty of space up here. We go to the left. And now you can see there in the distance, you can see the climb ahead, and unfortunately you can also see there's a fair bit of cloud cover up there. So you can see the track weaving up. So we go down a steep little descent first, and then you got the track. Take a quick photo there of the track. Okay, continue. This bit is a fair bit rougher. You've got a couple of little small step downs. Again, only small, but still there. Could be a little bit beneficial to have a little bit of extra clearance if your car is reasonably low to begin with, but nothing too dramatic. And look, with a bit of focus, you could pick a line that doesn't really incorporate the steps. But a little bit rougher here, a few more loose rocks, a couple of bigger loose rocks, but no dramas. Really, still pretty good grip. Still really good grip actually. Again, as I say there on this track, one of these great little bits in between the climbs and descents. There's a fair bit of space there that you can pull over if cars are coming the other way. Still not a lot, but just a little bit. I don't think it's going to make at this stage much of a difference to the track. Again, if you're following the tracks, the lines that other people have clearly driven, plenty of grip. Really not that technical at all. A few harder bits from memory when we came through yesterday. As we get further along, continue the climb, you'll see that as we get there. Keep mentioning it, but the different trees, different plant life. Amazing down here, and the durability of the bushland there after fires from years gone by. Just going to pop this back into low second for this bit. This is a bit of a rocky face here. Again, plenty of grip, no issues. Dramas at all at this stage for grip. As with any trip, just want to make sure that your car is properly prepared, properly equipped. So as you go here, there's just a little bumpy rocky bit here. No dramas of grip though. Maybe some clearance issues there if you've got a very low four-wheel drive. I think you'll be able to make it around it. As I was saying there, really important to always have your vehicle properly prepared for a trip. If you get there and find that it was easier than you thought, that's a good thing to have. But you always want to be preparing for it to be harder than you thought. Well up to date with servicing. You don't want to find a place out here quite remote that you've got a major issue. Okay, so this bit here, there is a lot more rocks, a lot of loose rocks, and as it goes up, a bit more technical, bigger loose rocks. Here is about where if you haven't really got any modifications that you might find that you want them. And we're scrambling around a little bit, but not too badly. And this is where your decent tyres and your slightly lower tyre pressures make all the difference. And if you've got that extra bit of ground clearance, you're not going to be too worried about possibly bumping anything underneath the car. Again, nothing too dramatic, at least for us today. pretty obvious where other people have gone, and generally that's the smoothest, easiest way with the most traction. That probably has been the hardest bit so far coming up. I think there's a few other bits that may be a little bit harder. Now we're just on the edge of the cliff here. It's a bit of a long way down. Plenty of space, it's not like I'm worried. But you definitely want to keep your eyes on the road. Okay, so another one like the last one. Again, a lot of big loose rocks, a lot of rocky terrain. Pick your line. Try to avoid any big rocks that you think might cause some damage. If you hit them in the wrong angle, there's one in the middle of the track there. I'm going to go a little bit to the right to avoid that. And then there's one up here to the right that I'm going to avoid, without getting too close to that rock wall though. And right, drive to the side here, and oh, we've got a car coming the other way. Generally it's a bit of a give way to people coming up the hill, but we'll see. Okay, we haven't got too many options. This isn't really ideal, but that's okay. We're going to back it up. I don't think we have any other option. Not really what I wanted to be doing. Okay, so oh, here we go. Thanks. Okay, so the guy here has found a spot here for us to get past, which is really handy. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate it. Thanks, mate. Pretty seriously kitted out Prado there. And we continue. Those in more modern four-wheel drives with the benefit of a reversing camera. No such luck in the old Cruiser here. That would potentially make things a little bit easier if you've got to back up. If all else fails, if you're not sure, either get out and have a look yourself, or get, if there's a co-driver or another car, someone to guide you back. You don't want to be messing up on the sides of some of these cliffs. Now here is very rugged, and I'm going to pick a line here, which I don't think I've picked my best option, but we've done okay. Again, at this point, if you're in a standard four-wheel drive, you've potentially got to be expecting some damage. And in your standard road tyres, you're struggling for grip. Not to say it's not possible. The name of the game is to have fun. It's not how far we can get without modifications, it's having a good time and keeping you and your vehicle and occupants safe. Asked the people when we passed them whether it was clear further up. Benefit of hindsight, eh? If Mr. Prado ends up watching this, thanks again for being very considerate and moving on over. lines where people have been. It's pretty smooth. You may be able to see there a few little speckles on the windscreen. This is really a lot of fun. Might have to work on a GoPro for recording me so you can see my wild steering skills with a big grin on my face when we're doing things like this. Would mean I'd have to be a bit more conscious when I roll out of bed in the morning. Said at the start, yesterday it took us about 56 minutes maybe. It's definitely drier yesterday though. So it's a long track. Which way should we go? Here. Maybe this way. Again, so definitely a few harder bits here where picking a line makes a bit of a difference. Picking the right line makes a bit of a difference. And again, your tyres make a big difference. Just be mindful again of big rocks that get thrown around the track. Feel like diff-seeking missiles. It's a little bit bumpier than I thought. That's alright. In low range there, first or second, you can just crawl up this. And we're here both today and yesterday. It's been pretty obvious which way people go on most of these bits. Generally haven't been led too far astray. A bit of bounce there, not really bounce, but just on the rocks. Catch your breath for a second. And out to the side there, you can see right down the valley. Again, there's a fair bit of cloud coverage, fog. And we get ready for the next climb. Rocks, but following the tracks there, plenty of grip. Out here, rocks a little bit, momentary spell of traction. There's a couple of big of these wombat holes you just want to avoid if you can. Here that as it gets wet, definitely it's slippery, and it is. We're all good at the moment. Definitely slipperier than yesterday. There's a bit more moisture now on the track. I'm going to head to the left, try and look that way. Definitely a lot more wheel spin now than what I've had before, but that's also due to these big rock surfaces here. Obviously a bit slippery with the dirt, water. too dramatic. To the right here. Again, if you're in low range, first or second, you're going pretty slow, so you've got a little bit of time to pick your line. And if you've got a friend that you're with, or another car you're following, you can see what they do and what works or doesn't work for them. So you get up here, got that fog and cloud cover. Rock surface there, which should be a little bit slippery, a bit bumpy. But also a lot of fun. Oh wow, look, you can see there's a lot of big rocks here, but again, the track, keeping the tracks of other people. Whilst it's a bit bumpy, there's not too many rocks and currently pretty good for grip. This bit here might get a bit more exciting. I'm going to move over to the left because it looks pretty deep there on the right. And then it looks a bit deep on the left further up, so I'm going to move back to the right. And then up here it all, in the middle looks a bit rough, so we'll keep either side of that. And just try to keep the tyres having the smoothest area and keep the risk down as low as possible for bumping any of the underbody. Now, here the track's pretty tight. Again, you're on the edge of the edge. Now, there's a big rock in the middle of the track there. Somewhere up here, we missed it yesterday because we had we didn't have great visibility yesterday, but I think it was actually even a little bit better than this. So there's a spot up here where it opens up and gets very scenic. We missed that yesterday because of visibility. I dare say we're going to have the exact same issue again today. But hey, that's the high country, luck of the draw. There's plenty of people that come up and never get to experience the high country in its cloud and foggy state. So to you I say, well, good on you. Yeah, so I think this here is one of the bits there where there's a very narrow pass here, and you've got a pretty steep fall either side. Ignorance is bliss if you come up and you don't know that. But there's also some really good photo opportunities when you can see something. But for us, photo opportunities aren't so great. Now, yesterday I didn't quite appreciate that we're at this spot when we're at it. But today I do. And again, it is just a little bit nerve-wracking knowing that you've got pretty steep falls either side. Now there's a spot just to the left here where if you are travelling by yourself you can probably pull up for just a moment, either let people through, or if you want to go back and get a nice scenic photo, we're not going to worry because the photo will just be cloud and fog. That's okay. So as you continue to climb all those rocks, visibility is pretty low. I'm going to put the lights on just so any cars coming the other way get a brief warning. If they've got their lights on too, we'll get a little warning as well. Nice. scenic out there, but you just can't see it. Spot here that you could pull up, regroup if you're in a bit of a convoy, briefly stop. Given we're pretty close to the Pinnacle Fire Tower, if you are thinking you'll have a stop with lunch and possibly barbecue or whatever it might be, or picnic, I would definitely wait for the Pinnacle Fire Tower. Whoa! Whoa! Wow! That's really slippery. The back into the car was moving around a fair bit, so I'm going to respect that a bit more on this bit. Drop down into second gear and hug the right side here, given it's a little off camber there, so if we do slide, we slide into the bank. No such issues this time, which is good. Keep it in low second and just take it easy. And there's a little bit of moisture here, and seemingly this stuff's a bit slippery. The track's a bit slippery, so we're just going to again keep to the right side here, so if we do slip and slide, we're all good. Yesterday this was all dry and there was absolutely no issues at all with grip. Yeah, there's definitely been more water. Again, I've got a bit of a step here just to be mindful of, so go on either side of it. And let the car keep you going slowly. Don't want to be doing anything too crazy when there's potentially slippery track. You don't want to be jumping on those brakes too hard. You can lose control quite quickly. Not feeling like I've got any grip issues, but I'm just a little bit tentative after that last bit back there. Keeping an eye out for any big loose rocks that may have suddenly come onto the track. You don't want one of those to hit any part of your car, your power steering line, your steering dampener, transfer case, diff, gearbox. of Billy Goat Bluff track onto the Pinnacles Road. Now from here, get on the road just for a short duration, and then you get to a fork, or you get to T intersection there, and you can go left up to the Pinnacle Fire Tower, or right to head out of here. So we'll finish up here. Thanks for watching. 42 minutes. We did a little bit faster than yesterday. We're doing it solo though. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them below. If you enjoyed the video, have a like there, and if you can follow us, that'd be great. Until next time, look after yourselves.